Hey everybody, and welcome to the Creativity Broadcast, where the theme today is candy corn! Today's video is 3 more common misconceptions or myths about the creative process that tend to get in our way. Different ideas that we have that a lot of us subscribe to on a daily basis without really even thinking about it, that can get in the way of being creative or joyful or just making things that you like, or even making choices that make you happy, like wearing a candy corn themed sweater because it's October. The first myth we're going to look at today is a myth that creativity or being a creative person is limited to folks in the arts. This is just completely not true. Nothing about creativity confines it to the world of art or music, literature, etc. In fact, I think every profession actually needs creativity to keep evolving itself. Science and technology, business, academia, every one of these areas actually needs and requires creative thinking, creative energy, and imagination in order to evolve itself. So if you are a scientist, I imagine you're also a deeply creative person. You might just be conditioned to not really think about what you do in that way. The second myth we're going to take a look at today is that the light bulb moment is the most important part of your creativity. And I think, unfortunately, I don't know where we get this idea. I don't know if it's just because light bulb moments lead to projects and those projects go out into the public eye. So maybe we just believe that light bulb moments create amazing things. One thing that comes to mind is like a song that we all hear on the radio that we come to love and adore. And then we hear the artist discussing what it was like to come up with it. And I think that a lot of the stories that tend to go viral about things like this are artists saying things like, oh, I was just walking down the street on a Thursday thinking about how much I loved the latte I was drinking. And then I thought, beep, 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 here's the song. And I ran into the studio and now it's the big song. So I think we just sort of absorb this idea that the light bulb moment matters a lot. Other things happen that have nothing to do with light bulb moments. Sarah Bareilles writes in her book, Sounds Like Me, which I think is on my bookshelf behind me somewhere. She writes about her song Love Song, which is, tons of people know that song. It was all over the radio. It was like her big first hit. But it wasn't a light bulb moment that produced that song. It was, if I'm remembering the story correctly, sorry, Sarah, if I'm not, it was Sarah Bareilles being kind of under duress, like almost literally locked into a room to write them a love song for the label. And she was like, I'm not going to do that. And she wrote this amazing song as kind of an FU. Gotta admire it. I think it's freaking amazing. There's nothing about that says light bulb. That's like being driven into the ground to get an idea. Great ideas also surface in really weird ways, like every once in a while we'll have a light bulb and something will go off, or you'll be like noodling on a problem and then suddenly out of nowhere like lightning strikes and you're like, oh, finally this has solved that problem in the bridge of my song. But I think that we are also deeply resourceful people, and we don't have to wait around for the light bulb to just randomly happen. I think that's a really disempowering idea. I think the most important thing to do is to actually take really good care of yourself and what you're working on. And sometimes that means taking a break so that your creative juices can just replenish. And sometimes it means just being like, I don't need a light bulb. I'm choosing to finish this and we're going to work with what's here. Gotta tell me about your thoughts on this one. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Okay, the other myth I want to talk about today is this, again, another belief that a lot of people hold that I think sidelines us from being able to engage with our creative side, is this myth that creativity is about coming up with completely original ideas, or if you are a true creative, it's all original all the time. And I think creativity is more about like working with everything. And sometimes that includes stuff that you've learned and absorbed over time. Like if you think about any musician, like they're not happening in a vacuum. They were instructed, likely. They are also a fan of music. They've listened to tons of stuff over the years. Like we absorb that and it informs what we make and it informs our style and it informs what we love and our voice in the things that we're making. So I think if you're focused on making things that are only fully original, you're kind of cutting off a pretty important part of the experience, which is being part of a creative collective. Is this me giving you license to plagiarize? No! But this is about acknowledging that our creativity is really drawing from, sometimes it's like drawing from the ether, you know? And acknowledging that we don't have full ownership over our ideas. Like they exist outside of us and often will be informed by stuff that other people have said or made. To me, that's a very empowering thought because it doesn't put the burden on me of being like the perfect steward for my ideas. It's more like, oh, this thing that I'm making, I better be like a good curator for it. I better do something good with it. It makes it like it's not all on my shoulders. Let's see. Okay, we're going to do, I said there were 3, but we're going to do 4 just because it's a little bit fun. But there's this other myth that like if you're a creative person, that creativity is effortless. And that is also the least true thing I've ever heard of in my life. I mentioned that I think this sweater is like a very creative choice. And it actually took a really long time for me to be interested in letting my clothes be an expression of my creativity and not just trying to blend in all the time like Homer Simpson just retreating into the hedge. So I would say creativity does take effort. It takes your participation. You have to participate in order to be creative and to let your ideas flow, even if they're just about clothing choice. That is you participating. Okay, thanks for joining me for 3 + 1. That's 4. It's about creativity and the creative process. If you are interested in diving more into what's beyond myths and actually being able to learn about your personal creative process and how to apply it in a way that's very real and tangible for you, and check out my classes, my creative process mastery classes. The first one is about Spark. It's the new ideas. How do you stay organized? What do you select? How do you empower yourself? The second one is called Mess, and it's about the messy middle part when you're actually working on stuff and how do you navigate that in your own particular way. And the third is about finishing stuff and letting it have a life way out there in the world. Again, I do believe everyone's creative process is as unique as they are. And so my tools are designed to be about honing in on what yours are, not about you applying my process. Okay. None of my stuff is ever going to be about that. Okay. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next Tuesday on the Creativity Broadcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe or share the channel. Really helps me out. And okay, bye.